So currently people can't agree on what UBI technically is or should be. Some people want it to replace all current forms of welfare and cut down on bureaucracy. Others want it to be in addition to current schemes, or want it to be so high that working becomes optional. However, the aim is constant throughout all, to provide basic financial security to its recipients. A UBI is an addition, as UBI wouldn't have an effect on any current salary. This is an incredible thing, as with some current welfare programs, if you earn a certain amount more than what the benefit offers, all benefits are taken away, and if you took a job with a higher salary, you may now be ineligible for many welfare programs you were eligible for in the past, like free school meal and clothing grant programs. Along with an increased tax rate and any other cost that may be involved with taking a higher paid job, you may end up worse off than before. However, with a UBI, it cannot be cut and you cannot be ineligible for it. This means that any additional income or an increased salary will always make your financial situation better. On top of those positives, UBI won't add to inflation. Standard economic theory says that by expanding people's financial ability to buy products and services, which a UBI would do, the demand for those products and services goes up, and to ration the goods, the price increases. This is what causes inflation. However, as money isn't just created by magic, UBI would need to be financed by a redistribution of funds. The easiest way to do this would be to have UBI replace all current welfare systems and use the free funds from that to finance it, meaning no inflation. This would also shut down a number of government agents, which would save money and cut down on bureaucracy. In addition to that, the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations and UNICEF said that in the 6 case studies where a UBI was integrated, there was no evidence of inflation. This method of funding it is better than funding it by taxation, as this would mean that you're rising taxes on the public in order to give money to the public. However, funding it by taxation would decrease the gap between rich and poor, as the higher earning public would be paying more than the low earning, and then these payments, once turned into a UBI, would be distributed equally. Another way of funding a UBI is an idea given by who's a Greek politician and ex-finance minister who says, and this is paraphrased, "Every time we search on Google, we are adding to the capital stock of Google. So capital is socially produced, but the returns to capital are privatised. My proposal is a universal basic dividend. A percentage of all shares of all companies go into a public equity trust, like a wealth fund for society, and the dividends are distributed to every member of society equally. So, universal basic income, but the income comes from returns to capital, not from taxation." In 2013, the Oxford Martin Programme on Technology and Employment published a report about how susceptible jobs are to computerisation. They put 47% of all jobs in a high-risk category, meaning that these occupations are most likely to be automatable over the next decade or two. In this situation, UBI could come into play in 2 different ways. The first being that UBI could be a great way to diversify the profits that this new technology would bring. The second is that a UBI would support the people who may eventually be unemployed due to these advancements, as it would be a means to support their basic needs and keep them going until they find a new job. UBI would also remove the need for everyone to work full-time jobs, which would ultimately give people more time to study, improve their educational situation, or improve their future employment options. Or maybe a UBI would just make everybody less stressed about money and reduce desperation in the world, which wouldn't be too bad either. A big criticism of UBI is that if we gave everybody free money, a large proportion of the public would stop working. However, this has been proven wrong. As I mentioned before, there have been test runs of UBI in several different countries. One of these includes a test done in Canada in the 1970s. In this test, it was discovered that 1% of the recipients stopped working, and the majority of these people went on to look after children or the elderly. Time was then used to go back to school, look for better jobs, or to do volunteer work. Another interesting effect that was noted was that the hospitalisation rate and crime rates both went down. In another test in Finland, some people left their current job to find work which provided greater economic security, and would use the UBI to comfortably assist them through a brief period of unemployment. Another study done by a Nobel Prize winning economist and others at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology analysed data from 7 randomised control trials of government-run cash transfer programs in 6 developing countries throughout the world. In this report, they said that they found no systematic evidence that cash transfer programs discourage work. Another paper analysed evidence from the Alaska Permanent Fund to find out how would universal and permanent cash transfers affect the labour market. The paper was opened by saying, "The unconditional cash transfer thus has no significant effect on employment, yet increases part-time work," and was concluded by saying, Overall, our results suggest that a universal and permanent cash transfer does not significantly decrease aggregate employment. Another major concern since the introduction of cash transfer or UBI programs is that households will misuse the cash. Firstly, there's no way to truly misuse a UBI, as one of its core tenets is it is not paternalistic. However, in the context of this concern, misuse basically means to spend it on temptation goods like alcohol and tobacco. This concern isn't a problem either though, as the World Bank said that there is no evidence that cash and UBIs are used for temptation goods in any of the environments tested, and a growing number of studies from a range of contexts indicate that these concerns about the cash transfers are misleading and have unsubstantial evidence supporting them. Universal basic income massively supports entrepreneurship. It would give many people an opportunity to work on a business idea, as it would give them the confidence to safely reduce their working hours without worrying about money as much. It's better to many other types of welfare in this situation, as a lot of them aren't given to people working on self-employment startups. UBI would also provide a safety net for someone if their business initiative were to fail. It gives basic financial security to somebody to stop them from scrambling for benefits, or it could give somebody from a failed business startup or not time to find the most suitable job as opposed to rushing to the first job which comes along regardless of if it's a good fit. This is another reason why UBI is better than current welfare programs, as these tend to come with a lot of strings attached, like taking part in courses, applying for a certain number of jobs a month, or taking any available offer regardless of if it will be beneficial in the long run or is of personal interest. I understand that there's still problems I haven't discussed here, however I believe that a UBI would still be beneficial in the long run, even if implementing it is tough. UBI brings freedom to people, allowing them to find more fulfilling jobs and to start businesses, the ability to further their education and improve on personal or work skills, and freedom with their life overall, allowing people to worry less about money and focus on the things that they find important. This level of financial security and freedom is unparalleled in history and would change many people's lives for the better.